How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I need to talk about Terra Luna. I need for you to sit down for this conversation, be glued to your television or whatever device you are watching this channel on, because you're going to get some real good information. You're going to be in for a sweet treat. Terra Luna has been absolutely ripping the charts in a good way. Terra Luna has been on a parabolic run over the last couple of days, and it shows no signs of slowing down. Now, if you're new to crypto, you may be asking, well, why is Terra Luna up so much? Has there been anything that has been announced on the project? What's going on? Well, it's simple. There have been no additional utilities announced for Terra Luna. In fact, the founder, LUNC Coin, actually has stepped away from developing Terra Luna Classic, and he's turned his attention to Terra Luna version 2. However, for us to understand why Terra Luna Classic is pumping so hard and actually shows sign that it may very well kill a zero pretty soon and potentially long term down the line reclaim a price point at over $1, we have to take a step back and consider where we were in terms of history and how we got to where we are now. Again, we have to understand what transpired in the not so distant past to why we are where we are now. Take a step back with me and let's take a look at this. Way back when, back in the time in May of 2022, that's this year, not too long ago, you had a token called USTC, okay? And then you also had a token at the time called Terra Luna. Now, USTC served as Terra Luna's stablecoin. Now, you may ask, what is a stablecoin? Well, it's simple. A stablecoin is essentially a coin that is stable. Makes sense, right? Stable coin. However, the purpose that a stable coin serves is to be pegged to the US dollar, the $1, as much and as close as possible. Therefore, what this stablecoin is used for is for when people transfer their money or their tokens that they earn or money that they've earned in other crypto projects, profits, transfer that to what are called stable coins. When they do that, that essentially helps them to have comfort that the value of those stable coins or the value of their profit or their whatever they've invested in will remain stable and not fluctuate wildly. All right. So here's the thing. So look at it this way. You make money, right, in Ethereum. If you keep that money in Ethereum as the token, Ethereum fluctuates on a day-to-day, minute-by-minute, second-by-second aspect. And so because of that, 1 minute your Ethereum may be worth $2,000 for a token. The next minute, it could very well be worth $1,700 per token. I know that's a wild swing, but I'm just stick with me here. So the purpose of a stable coin is to lock in that price to make sure that you can get as close to that amount that you transferred as possible. So if you transferred 2,000 from Ethereum, you swapped it into, in this case, let's say USTC, which was the stable coin for the then called Terra Luna. If you swapped $2,000 in Ethereum to that, then you would have expected it to always remain as close to $2,000 as possible. But guess what? That didn't happen. And so because of that, when we go back over here to CoinMarketCap, this tells the story. Now, as we progress along in this story, everything's going to start to make sense to you. So we invest money into the USTC stablecoin, which again was Terra Luna stablecoin. On May 6th, a series of events occurred. We're not going to dive into those details as deeply as I would like, because that would just take a lot of time. It's very complex. But for simplicity, just know that there were a chain of events that occurred that caused the USTC token to depeg from the dollar. What I mean by depeg means it's no longer holding the value of around $1. In fact, what we saw here was the price drop a little bit below $1 on May 6th. But check this out. As we march along to the next day, May 7th, we saw the price fall to, 99 cents. Okay. If we progress to May 9th, the price slides a little bit further. But check this out. From the period of May 9th all the way to this period of about, if we go here, look at this, around May 12th, May 13th, the price not only fell beneath the dollar to about 90 cents, but it went on an absolute free fall all the way down to less than 20 cents. So you have a stable coin that was once pegged to the dollar that not only fell a little bit beneath the dollar, but it went on a free fall, a slide, if you will, a massive slide, all the way to less than 20 cents. Now, remember the story where I said you take 2,000 of Ethereum and then you swap it into this stable coin called USTC? You would expect it to be around $2,000 plus or minus a few cents or whatever. Your $2,000, right, now just became worth only 20% of what you had swapped it for. Let that sink in. So now, as panic sits in, and all of these individuals who had their money into this USTC stablecoin, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm losing all of this money. So what happens is you see it escalate. You see the price continue to free fall because people want out of the stablecoin. And you know what? Because of that, this is what happens. Remember, I told you that the USTC and Terra Luna, they are all part of the same ecosystem. There was a complete collapse in the Terra Luna ecosystem. And because of that, not only did the USTC token crash, because that's what happened, it absolute bombed. You had Terra Luna. At the time, it was called Terra Luna, which is today called Terra Luna Classic. So I want to make sure you're clear on that. So I'm calling it Terra Luna for this purpose. Terra Luna crashed as well. Let's look at Terra Luna. Terra Luna was here on, let's take the date of May 3rd, $86. It crashed from $86 on the 3rd of May. And by the time we got to the 12th of May, which was only a few days over about a week or so past that initial date of May 3rd, the token had crashed all the way to $1 and some change. Let that marinate on your mind. Let it marinate. So this is another instance of where folks lost so much money. And as you can imagine, when you see the price free fall so drastically in such a short amount of time, you're going to sell your portfolio or your position. I'm not telling you you should have, but this is what people did. I mean, they didn't know what the future would hold for this token. So here's the interesting thing. This project, Terra Luna, had an all-time high of around $116. So mind you, this was April 3rd, which was about a month prior to when this absolute terrible crash happened. This token's worth $116. It fell from $116 a month prior all the way down to about $1. $1. Okay? It fell to $1 when we got around the time frame of May 10th. Now, it gets even worse. Not only does it fall to about $1 on May 10th, check this out. When we get to May 13th, we have three Satoshi units, 4588 as the price. So you just dropped the price even further beneath $1. So people panicked. People had no faith in this project anymore. They're like, this project is dead. I'm going to make out like a bandit, take everything I have, and I'm gone. But this, my friends, is where the story really begins as far as explaining how we got to where we are now with the price pump. Stick with me, guys. So here's the thing. At this point, you had investors. I'll be honest, I'm one of those investors, but you had investors that saw this price drop so low beneath $1 from its all-time high of over $100, right? In fact, about 116 and some change, like I mentioned. They saw this as an opportunity. And what do I mean by opportunity? Well, it's very simple. See, you have to understand this about Terra Luna. Terra Luna was like a highly sought after project of its time. Terra Luna was looked at as a blue chip, which essentially means as one of those projects that you can't go wrong investing in. And because it was looked at as a blue chip, people had confidence to invest in it. Terra Luna, you see, had been listed on every single major centralized exchange around the globe, which means that it had so many investors, so many people knew what Terra Luna was. Okay? So many people had became millionaires. So many people saw the price go up all the way. So we go back to last year, 2021, the price was sitting at $35. So we went from around $35 in October of 2021 all the way up to an all-time high of $116. That is almost 4 times the price point in terms of value just from October to April of 2022. Not even 1 year. Okay, so people were looking at this Terra Luna project like, oh my gosh, this thing is gonna blow. It's just gonna keep ripping. The sky's the limit for this project, and rightfully so. However, when that price dropped, like I mentioned to you before, when that price dropped to well beneath $1, well beneath $1, several zeros behind the decimal point, 1817, for instance, here, you had what were called degenerates. Now, you may ask yourself, what is a degenerate? Well, here's the thing. Degenerate may sound like it has a negative connotation to it, but it actually doesn't in a sense. And let me explain why I say that. In this case, you may have seen an opportunity, or people saw an opportunity to invest in Terra Luna. And you may ask why. They saw the opportunity to invest in Terra Luna because they said, well, wait a minute. If the price had been over $100, up at all-time high, all the way from $35 in less than 1 year, just a few short months, then what's stopping it from being able to go back up in value? Okay? It's listed on all of the major exchanges. It's known all around the world. It was considered a blue chip of its time. So if it could reach all-time high during that time, and there's a strong community backing this project, then why can't it go back to all-time high? Now, I know there are circumstances for all of y'all that have been around crypto and you understand what I'm saying, where I'm coming from. You know that there are other extenuating circumstances like the circulating supply. You know, they minted more tokens, which also helped to drive the price well below $1. But they were doing that to try to save the project from basically going to zero. But we're going to put that aspect of what happened to the side because I want this to just be a very simplistic overview of where we came from and why we are where we are today in terms of the price pumping. Now, as we turn our attention back to the point what I was making. So you had what were called degenerates investing in this project, which simply means they were investing because they wanted to make a quick gain. They wanted to flip a quick profit. What a degenerate basically does is, or who a degenerate person is basically the profile. Basically, a degenerate is an investor that basically doesn't believe in a project potentially. They're just investing to make a quick buck. They just want to do a quick swing trade or invest into whatever the fad is, like hot dog new, for instance, which you know would probably rug pull. You see an opportunity there, it's all over the place. People hyping in, they're aping in. A degenerate would say, okay, you know what? I'm not going to hold this position in this token long term because I know it's complete trash, but I just want to make a quick buck. So I'm going to invest in it, take my profit, and I'm going to make out like a bandit. That's essentially what was going on here with the Terra Luna token. Now, how we get to where we are now. So here's the thing. So we got to where we are now in terms of Terra Luna being renamed Terra Luna Classic because Do Kwon, who was the person that was the founder for Terra Luna, he was basically the leader of Terra Luna, right? The community. Essentially, he stepped away from Terra Luna. In other words, development for Terra Luna stopped at one point. He's like, look, I'm done with this. I'm going to start a new project. It's going to be called Terra Luna version 2. Okay. So because they didn't want any confusion with the Terra Lunas. So now we have version 2 and Terra Luna, the original. What happened was the original Terra Luna that I spoke about throughout this whole conversation was renamed to Terra Luna Classic. Okay, the same thing goes for the stable coin. The stable coin is now named UST Classic. Okay, so both tokens are classic. The stable coin is called Classic, and the token, the native token for the ecosystem for Terra Luna, is called Terra Luna Classic. So now I've solidified that understanding in your mind to understand how did we get to being named Classic. Now let's continue on. So going back over here to Terra Luna Classic, you had the degenerates aping in. All right, they're investing a lot of money, or a very small amount of money, and they figured, hey, I can pop in 100, and if we drop 3 zeros, you know, hey, that's 1,000x, because every zero you drop is a 10x, and it's just exponentially multiplied. All right, you see what I did there with the math? 3 zeros, 1,000, 10, 100, 1,000. Simple math. All right, so if you dropped in $100 and then it dropped 3 zeros for some reason, your $100 would become the first zero, 1,000. The second zero, it would turn into about 10,000, and then the third zero, it would turn into 100,000. So as you can see, that was a great potential to have a massive return on your investment. Hence, the generative plays were taking place. So how do we get to where we are now in terms of the price pump? Well, here's the thing. You have to understand that Terra Luna was one of those blue chips, like I mentioned. It has a strong backing, has a strong community, a very strong community. And so folks lost a lot of money that were in the project because at one point, like I said, it had an all-time high, well over $100, and people lost that if they didn't sell at the appropriate time to avoid losing money, okay? So people had faith in this project, and people still do until today. And because of the strong community in the Terra Luna ecosystem, individuals are taking it upon themselves to either do burns or create new tokens to support burning and buybacks, such as, you have another lunatic token. And, I'm not going to get into that, but that's a whole nother token that's separate from the ecosystem of Terra Luna. But it was a project that was started in order to help to burn the token supply, because the supply of the Terra Luna Classic was increased in order to save the project. Again, we're not going to go down that path because it's complicated. However, with that being said, you have so much enthusiasm around pumping this price of Terra Luna Classic, which is called now, back up to $1. And so because of that, you're having people burn the token. You're having individuals sending their tokens to they're burning it. And not only that, you are having buy-in from none other than Binance. So what I want to show you is this. This is again on CoinMarketCap. And I essentially typed in Terra Luna Classic, LUNC. That's the symbol for the trading symbol. Okay. And I clicked on markets. This will show you the volume in terms of transactions, buys and sell, for the token based on the exchange. So if you see here, you'll see Binance is the #1 exchange that is responsible for the trading volume. Look at this. There has been around 850,866,000 and change in terms of the number of dollars that has been changing hands in terms of buying and selling of this token. That, my friends, puts us at 44% increased volume over this time yesterday for this token. So, tying all of this together for you, because I know I've been talking a while, but I like to educate, and I wanted you to understand how we came from where we were to where we are now. This token has a lot of convictions. This token has a lot of people that are convicted in its purpose. It doesn't matter that there's not much development occurring. Doesn't matter. It's a community project now. And you know what? The people call themselves lunatics because you know what? They are crazy for their Terra Luna. And you have the backing of the community like this, the sky's the limit. My friends, I'm not telling you to invest in this project at this point. In fact, I wouldn't chase a green candle. That's a whole nother conversation. Never chase green candles because you're going to get burned in the end. You should have invested in this when you saw that free fall down below that we talked about. You know, when it fell from that whole $100 all the way down to like 4 zeros or 5 zeros or something like that. That was the point you should have invested. You could potentially still be early in this project, early in a sense of it going back, you know, at some point to $1. You know, I'm not telling you to invest or not to invest. This is not financial advice. I just wanted to tell you the story of Terra Luna and how we got to where we are now. My friends, Terra Luna has been pumping. That's the takeaway. And you know what? Even though Terra Luna is beneath the all-time high by a lot, less than $1, in fact, millionaires will continue to be made from this project. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Crypto Stream. If you like what you heard, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Like this video so the word can spread. And also feel free to chime into the conversation in the comments below. And as I always like to say when I end the conversation, remember to invest with a purpose so that you can create generational wealth for you and your family. We'll talk to you guys real soon.